What? What the hell are you doing?
I've got good news, sir. The source of the problem was inside the monastery. There was nothing more to it.
And the construction?
We'll continue. The master builder's helper was to blame for everything. With him out of the way, the work will run smoothly again.
That's good. You've accomplished your task admirably, Henry, and I should reward you for it.
Thank you, Sidivish.
Are you welcome, Henry?
I wouldn't say that.
God grant you health. How may I help you?
How are the Talmberg folk getting on? Is it peaceful here?
Do you even have to ask? Some poachers have settled in the woods near the inn. A right band of them too. The master huntsman's at his wit's end with them. Maybe he could use your help.
How are the Talmberg folk getting on?
Think.
Nonsense. Who told you such a thing?
Ah! Watch where you're going!
Henry, what are you doing with that weapon in your hand? That's forbidden. Put it away.
Hey, Henry's come to see us.
Ah! Watch where you're going. You nearly killed me.
I hope I can be of help to you, knight.
Master Huntsman, is there any work for me here?
There's always something that needs doing. You're that Scarlet's lad, aren't you? Sir Radzig's lackey.
Sir Radzig is my liege, and I serve him faithfully. But that doesn't make me a lackey.
As you wish. What matters to me is that you're no layabout looking for easy work. I have a job here I can't give to just anyone.
I'm listening.
We've been having terrible problems with poachers lately. In Sir Divish's forests, we've been finding gutted entrails of deer and rabbit nooses all over the place. But no sign of the bastards who put them there.
And you want me to track down the poachers?
Indeed. Whatever you learn will be useful to me.
Do you suspect anyone?
Well, it's hard to say, but seeing how much harm they're causing, I'd say they're no crofters looking for a Sunday roast.
Shouldn't you be dealing with the poachers yourself?
I should, you're quite right. But when I ask the local folk anything, their mouths close up like clams. They're more scared of me than the devil.
Do you think the locals are in on it?
Well, I don't know, maybe. But even if not, they'll never talk to me. They're scared I'll dig some skeleton out of their cupboard. You know, the smaller the village, the bigger the secrets. That's why I need an outsider to ask for me.
I understand. I'll try to find out something about them. Any advice about where to start?
Certainly. Ask around the village. Somebody must have seen or heard something. And it wouldn't hurt to ask in the inn in the glade, the one on the road towards Neuhof. I've heard they serve good venison, and no shortage of it.
That's clear enough. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thanks for your help, lad.
I'd like you to show me some hunting tricks.
Certainly.
I want to achieve mastery.
All right, but it'll cost you.
Isn't that quite a lot?
Agreed. Now...
Welcome, Henry.
I heard you've got a poaching problem in the woods around here.
In the woods and out of them. Not long back, the bastards hung a deer's head on the huntsman's house.
That's pretty brazen of them.
Certainly is. Word around the village is that someone wants to shame him till he squirms.
Putting a deer's head on the huntsman's house sounds pretty risky. Why would anyone do that?
Maybe they want to show that Huntsman Nicholas is no match for them. And they're not wrong. He isn't the man he should be.
Do you think it was someone local?
I really don't know. All sorts of things get said. Hannikin Hare's back if you listen to some, and others are going on about Tom of the Baths. They swear blind he's got his fingers in it.
And what about you?
It could be anyone. There's more than one that has it in for Nicholas. And who knows what the neighbors get up to by night.
What's so suspicious about this Thomas?
Just that he was drunk and blabbering about how he was going to bring back venison from the woods.
Tell me something about Hannekin Hare.
He used to be master huntsman here a while back. But then Nicholas got him accused of a murder, and the hare had to flee. It cost him the huntsman's rank and Margaret, too.
What happened between Hare and Nicholas, anyway?
Those two didn't get on from the start. And then that business with Margaret really set them at each other's throats. But it all came to a head about 15 years back when Sir Henry of Lipa came to visit.
Sir Hanish's father?
Just so. There was a banquet at the castle in his honor, and in the morning they found one of Sir Henry's men-at-arms in the ditch with his neck broken. Well, Nicholas made sure the blame fell on Hannekin Hare.
And what happened to Hare?
That's just it. No one rightly knows. They put him in the dungeon, but when Sir Henry's men came for him the next morning, he was gone. No one knows what became of him.
May the Lord watch over you, Henry.
So how did Nicholas put the blame on Hare?
Nicholas always had a viper's tongue, and events made it easy for him. That evening there'd been a right falling out between Hare and the guardsmen. Blows were struck. Well, Sir Divish didn't want any ill will with Sir Henry, so he tried to settle things as quick as he could, and Hare got the short straw.
What was going on with Margaret?
Her father promised her to Hannekin, because they seemed a good match. But Nicholas couldn't stomach that, so he did what he did.
I want to ask about something else. Tell me something about Hannekin Hare.
He used to be master huntsman here a while back. But then Nicholas got him accused of a murder, and the hare had to flee. It cost him the huntsman's rank and Margaret, too.
I want to ask about... So why do people think Tom of the Baths is involved?
Ah, that's just nonsense. He was bragging in the tavern that he'd put on a venison feast for the village girls. Deer for the deers.
Did he?
I doubt it. He's all mouth and no trousers. But if you want to know more, ask my husband, the innkeeper. I wasn't here that evening.
That'll be all. Thanks. What do you think about all the poaching lately?
What should I be thinking? If they ever catch them, Sir Divish will have them skinned alive. But for that to happen, our master huntsman would have to be made of sterner stuff.
Do you think Nicholas isn't doing enough?
A master huntsman who lets poachers run wild through his woods? He's useless. He couldn't even stop them hanging a stag's head on his own house.
Right. Folk are talking about Hannekin Hare.
Henry.
Oh, good Lord. People do like to prattle on. Don't you go believing a word they say. It's the back of beyond here, and they'll tell any tale to spice things up a bit.
Thank you, innkeeper. I'll be going. I've heard Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in here.
So he did. He and Jack Piper were bragging about how they'd make a feast for the village lasses, that there'd be venison roast and enough beer to fill a river. And a few days later, they did come and buy a few kegs of beer from me.
Did they have anything else to say?
Not really. I told him to shut up, or someone would hear him and there'd be trouble.
And what did he say to that?
Nothing. He had more booze in him than the castle cellar. He just hiccuped and slid under the table. Piper took him off after that, thank God.
Do you suppose he meant it?
Hardly. He's nothing but a braggart.
All right, I'd best ask him myself.
Well, feel free to ask, but don't believe half what he says.
And who is this Jake Piper?
Well, he's Tom's best mate. A decent fellow. They call him the Piper because everywhere he goes, he's whistling on that pipe of his.
Where can I find him?
Well, most likely in the quarry. He lends a hand there to make ends meet.
Thank you, innkeeper. I'll be going.
God's sake, Henry. Hey, look at.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left unanswered. But go and see Elena if you're determined. That old gossip will tell you all there is to know.
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
The thing is, every time I spoke to someone about Hare, they always ended up talking about you.
But I don't.
You aren't to blame for anything, is that it? Well, I am willing to believe you, but you do know more than you're telling, and I need to hear it.
Very well. You're right. And what would you like to know about Hare?
How were things between you and Hare back then?
There was nothing between us. Hannikin Hare impressed my father with all his talk of noble blood. But I couldn't stand him, and I didn't want to marry him. And then it made no odds after he ran away.
So you didn't want to? I only asked because I've heard differently.
That's village talk. Of course folk gossip. Mostly they just want to hurt Nicholas.
Did Hare really commit the murder?
God in heaven, how should I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That remains to be seen. That'll be everything. I'd like...
I'm sorry.
That'll do me.
God bless.
Greetings, Henry.
What is it?